It's always a seller's market.
It's been like that for 27 years, ever since I've been in this business. People are always surprised. It is always more buyers than sellers. It is always a seller's market.
The difference between getting deals done and not getting deals done is your ability to problem solve. Every deal dies a couple of times. And if you can't figure out how to resurrect it, then you're going to lose the deal. What are you seeing coming onto the market?
Anything that makes money. Really, that's what people are looking for. It's cash flow.
I am excited to have my friend Jackie Hirsch on here because I wanted to get the lay of the land of where things currently stand in the M&A market. There's been some changes in the SBA and how you can buy businesses. And I thought, who better to talk to than Jackie? Last year, her company, Crown Atlantic, did $40 million in transactions. Yeah. She's trending to do more than $50 million this year. So she sees a lot of deals happening. She's got a lot of deals. It's fantastic. Anyways, I think people like Jackie can give us insights and help us avoid boneheaded mistakes. You know, the stupid mistakes that end up costing us $1 million. But what are you seeing right now? Like, what kinds of companies are coming to market?
People are endlessly moving here. I think, we had the election. And so there's that trepidation. No matter who's elected, there's always like a pause. And then we had the tariff non-starter. And I told everybody, I'm like, this is going to be fine. And everybody's panicking and it's going to be fine, as I said. So they'll sort that all out, but it does cause a little bit of pause. And so now you'll see third and fourth quarters just be off the hook.
Is that what you think?
Usually first quarter after an election is dicey.
How do you see the big, beautiful bill and tariffs? Or you can just take one of them at a time. Do you think those are an accelerant to people buying small businesses? Do you think they're holding them back?
I don't think it matters. I think the tariffs, look, people are always buying cash flow. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. Even in 2008 and 2010 and, in 2020 during COVID, people were buying and selling businesses. So there's always an element that's buying and selling no matter what is going on. And Warren Buffett says when there's blood in the water, there's even more deals happening. So I hear that tariffs are affecting certain things. And then when they realize it was fine, then it kind of goes back to normals versus inflation where you don't know where that wave is going, right? So I don't feel like we're there. There was like a blip and everybody kind of accepted it and then kind of moved forward.
What's interesting is what I'm seeing in the M&A market right now is there's still a ton of demand.
Huge.
There's still more buyers than sellers.
It's been like that for 27 years, ever since I've been in this business. Forever.
Really?
Yes, it is. People are always surprised. It is always more buyers than sellers. It is always a seller's market.
It's always a seller's market?
Always a seller's market. Wow. It's like being a woman in Alaska. You can get a date all the time. It's like that. Is that inappropriate? I don't know. I mean, that's what it is. Like my understanding is 70% male, 30% women. You always get a date in Alaska. Yeah, that's my understanding.
It's like a female on an oil rig. She has no shortage of dating options.
Nope. Whatever she wants.
It's a great analogy.
It is.
I'll tell you that.
Supply and demand.
I'm just saying from what I'm reading, I would have thought because rates went higher, you would have less of these full cash offers because private equity pulled back. I mean, they did pull back, right? This isn't like made up. They did pull back, but
right.
You're not necessarily seeing that at the deals at your price point, right? Because you're lower middle market, right?
When I put a deal of $1 million EBIT on the market, it's strategics, it's private equity groups, it's individuals, it's first-time buyers, it's people who have bought 10 companies. It's everybody for these deals.
I was looking nationally at the deal volume. It looks like we're down about 4% quarter over quarter, 25 over 24. Time on market is actually lengthening. It also looks like, according to this, some slight softening for multiples on the lower end. So we're talking about probably $1 million or less of EBITDA businesses because of some changes in the SBA.
Right.
There's been some hesitancy.
That's the softening.
That's the softening. Talk about these changes, these unprecedented changes that have never happened before.
So when the changes came out, I just started laughing because what happened? It went back to the way things used to be. And I would say from 2016 on, they really maybe opened it up too much and they were getting too many defaults. And that's real. Not every SBA business is a winner. So they were getting a lot of defaults. So there's some different things. There's a survey business that I'm selling and the buyer has to have the license. Otherwise, SBA doesn't want to do the deal. And if the buyer doesn't have the license, they want the seller to go on the note. This is how it used to be. So it was hard to sell a trades business. It was hard to sell HVAC before 2016. It was hard to sell like all these other, things that required this license. And you used to be able to get an HVAC business with probably like $1 million EBIT for like a 2x or a 3x. Like you used to be able to get that all day long.
Let me try my best to paint the picture, and then you tell me what I got wrong. The reason that it used to be harder, and the reason it got easier is because there were some rule changes with the SBA. So the SBA, the Small Business Administration, they have this program called the 7A program that allows people to buy small businesses for as little as 5% down, but typically 10% down for that business. And then the SBA backs those loans. They historically have really low delinquency rates, et cetera. Well, right around 2016, and then 2020, they changed even more. They started changing the rules. It used to be that if a seller was going to stay on in the business in any capacity, they had to personally guarantee the business to the SBA. On top of that, there's this like kind of way around that you can get around 10% down. And it's if you had the seller contribute equity, which was a seller note.
Right.
Well, that note now has to be on full standby, which means if I'm buying a business for $5 million and the seller says, yes, I will do a seller note for $1 million, and the bank looks at that and says, okay, we're counting that as contributed equity, but you've got to wait to make note payments until 10 years from now, until the SBA is paid off. So it's now disincentivized these sellers to retain equity or do creative seller financing because they've either got to personally guarantee the loan or they've got to wait 10 years if the note's on full standby.
And that's what it's been before. So people have to put down 20%. That's what it used to be. People put down 20%. When you put down 20%, then it's different.
Right. Well, and if you put down 20%, you don't have to go through the SBA. You can go the traditional lending route. Obviously, they don't necessarily have as good of terms, right? So they're not necessarily going to be 10-year loans, and they're not necessarily going to have the same interest rates. But if you have the cash to put 20 or 30% down, and then the assets that the bank can look at and say, oh, I'm going to loan against those assets, you could go the traditional financing route. But the SBA just not only made it much easier to buy these businesses, they made you could be like way more creative. And so these HVAC companies, like you're saying, these services businesses, the multiples just exploded because it was much easier for first-time buyers to get in. Now there's kind of a pullback because these first-time buyers aren't able to do that, which I find very interesting. It says here the loan default actually got estimated 5% in 2024, which is a decade high for the SBA. Are you seeing any of that with your buyers in Florida?
I'm not, but I mean, 5% is not huge, right? It's something, but the taxpayer does have to pay that, right? That's the taxpayer that has to do that. And basically the SBA guarantee is an insurance policy to the bank. So the bank wants at least 15% down, right? So if you put down 5% and then the seller has a 10% note, right? That's kind of the exposure. And then the rest would be paid to the bank. So the bank's never really out if there's a default.
No, the bank's not out, and they've started tightening their underwriting policies. Anyways, I agree. Are you seeing still the same amount of like first-time entrepreneurship through acquisition buyers? It's the same amount.
Always
it's not more, it's not less.
I mean, that's always been 90% like of the buyers that we deal with are first-time buyers, even for larger deals. Like there's a lot of first-time buyers, and there's not endless investment banking jobs. Where all these MBAs going to go? There's all of these salespeople for software that's been going away and moving offshore too. So those jobs are going away. So there's a lot of six-figure jobs, like mid six-figure jobs that are going away. And those people have to do something.
So they're looking at businesses. What are popular right now? What are you seeing coming onto the market?
Anything that makes money. I mean, anything. Really, like anything that makes money. Like really, that's what people are looking for. It's cash flow.
Tell me about the survey company.
So survey company, here's the issue though. You have to have some knowledge and you have to have that license. And it's a very niche specialty that they do. So there's stuff like that. Or
is it like land survey? Is it, hey, we're going to go do a land survey? Yes. Or are they conducting survey? Okay.
Yeah, land survey. So, but it's a specific niche in the construction industry, more specific than just land.
And to your point, the reason those now are going to be harder to sell is because in the past, because they're licensed, I saw this in healthcare as well. Yeah. You need that owner license to hang on the wall, at least for a period of time while you have this transition. Mm-hmm. Maybe you are the buyer and you can hang your license, but most of the time, these first-time buyers, they don't have that yet. And so the way they've gotten around that is, hey, you leave your license on the wall, you can roll equity. Or, hey, you leave your license on the wall, you can do a seller note. But now the SBA is requiring the personal guarantee. And it's like, no, I'm not willing to personally guarantee your loan.
Right. The buyer always is personally guaranteeing. They're now
Sure.
asking the seller to personal guarantee.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Sorry.
That's where it's gotten crazy.
That's
Is
what I'm saying. If
it's
I'm the
somebody else
seller,
guaranteeing your loan? Yeah, they're saying no.
exactly. If I'm the seller and I'm like, in the past, sure, I'll roll some equity and I don't have any personal guarantee anymore. That sounds great. And you can use my license. Now you want to use my license. Okay. But in order to do that, I've got to personally guarantee your loan. I'm not doing that. So the buyer is now in a much trickier situation of trying to figure out, okay, how do I now get somebody to come in and have that license?
Yeah. Pretty intense.
I want to hear some of the other cool businesses you've got going on. Land surveying. I like that.
Yeah. We have a underground site construction, site utilities. So that one, like 7 million EBITDA on that one. I have a materials testing business.
7 million EBITDA?
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
No searcher's buying that business unless they've got a proper search fund behind them.
Maybe an independent sponsor, maybe. But yeah, no, we have a whole list and we're going to do the list privately. So if you're not on that list, you won't see that. Like, it's not going to be anywhere.
What was the last business you saw that you're like, oh man, I want to buy this business?
Oh God, that happens all the time. There's certain businesses and like you just fall in love with them. I do love construction and I love aerospace and manufacturing.
Dude, so your love of business just like plays perfectly to you being a broker.
Probably.
You just get to nerd out and ADD out on every cool business that comes your way, which is amazing.
Oh, on Sesame Street or Electric Company, whenever they'd show a manufacturing facility, I was like, how do I get there? How can I have that?
You were like, can you tell me how to get to that manufacturing company?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, not Sesame.
Exactly.
Can you tell me how to get to that manufacturing company?
My favorite, book as a kid was like, what do people do all day? And they had all these different jobs. It was just fascinating to me. I never
That's
got
what my kids say to me. My kids always say that. What do you do all day?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, well, I tell Melina like what I do. She knows what I do. Like she, I show her numbers and then, she was making bracelets. I was like, okay, let's do a P&L for this. And we did like a whole P&L and like attributed her labor cost to like each bracelet. And she's like, oh, I think I need to be charging more. I'm like, that's right, sister. Charge.
That is so, dude, it was so funny. My oldest, Royce, he's 11. And we were talking and I don't like to tell my kids Republican good, Democrat good, or Republican bad, Democrat bad, right? Because I want them to think for themselves. And I don't really think in those binary choices.
Right.
So we were talking and he's asking me some questions. He's like, Dad, what do you think is better, Democrats or Republicans? I was like, well, okay. So we talked through it. I'm like, well, Republicans tend to believe in limited government. They don't believe that the government should be the one who's consolidating decision-making power, money, and then making decisions. They think, oh, I can make my own decisions and help people in that way. Democrats think that's the reason for community. We should have a government that's actually helping people and makes it easier for people to afford things or have access to things, et cetera. So I'm like, they have good arguments on both sides. I was like, what do you think, Royce? I was like, I think I'm a Republican because if you want to improve your life, you just got to make good choices. And you, Dad, you grew up poor and you just make good choices. So I just think that that's the way you should do it. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, no, I'm not kidding you. A week later, my younger son wins a raffle. It's this beautiful, like new racket. It's like $200 racket. And my oldest son is just like, I wanted a new tennis racket. That was the one I wanted. He just was like, woe is me, crying, sad. And he just starts asking, like, can I have that racket? Oh, can I share that racket with you? Please, please. And finally, my 8-year-old is like, okay, we can share the racket. And so my son now is sharing this racket. And I see this whole interaction happen. And I'm like, Royce, let's go to McDonald's real quick. He's like, oh, okay. Because I wanted to talk to him. I was like, I don't like the way that you got that racket. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you just whined until you got your way. Well, I really wanted the racket. I was like, okay, well, do you remember last week when we were talking? And you said, I'm a Republican because I think people can just make good decisions and they can earn things if they do things the right way. I was like, you remember that? He's like, yeah. I was like, do you see how you contradicted your own logic? He's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm like, why didn't you think, how could you earn extra money? Could you do a job? How do you find the racket? Could you start maybe a side business and then get some extra income and go and buy the racket yourself? And he was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. I also understand more now. I think government should do more for people. And I was like, oh gosh, no, okay. Now we're like,
it's so hard.
it's so funny when you're talking to your kids and they're learning through these things. So I love the fact that you're doing P&Ls with your daughter on how she's
you just
making
have
choices.
to do it. Yeah. I mean, it's really important to talk about money and explain like how it all works. So, okay, I thought maybe we'd talk about real deals.
Let's do
right?
it.
Like have some real deal. Okay, the real deal segment.
Real deal segment.
Because I'm an LP, I also sell companies, and then a bunch of my friends own businesses. So like they call me with like business therapy type problems. So when my buyers calls me and was like, "Hey, I think the seller's doing drugs," and I was like, "Okay, tell me more. You think it's like illegal drugs or legal drugs?" And so he said, "I don't know, but I heard something being chopped up in the background and something snorted."
Oh,
I was like,
like real drugs. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, this is a real concern. And we're trying to figure out if the seller's doing legal or illegal drugs to know if they are in danger, right? And we're just trying to clean them up. Like, I'm like, let's clean him up and like get him some help and like support him because I think he's a good guy. Yeah, this is like real deal. Like, so that we can get this deal done. It's a multi-million-dollar company.
This is what brokers have to do. This is what they have to do to get deals across the finish line.
Should we talk about the seller that went to jail or no?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Real deal. Hello.
So I get a call. And my friend who bought this company said, I realize the seller has been to jail. Is it okay?
Give me an idea how big this company is.
15 million in sales. Like not a small company. Okay.
It's a real company. Yep.
Real company. Yeah. I think they like stole a car when they were in their 20s, like early 20s.
Wait. So why did they care? Why did the buyer care that they had been arrested in their 20s?
Yes, because they are having some issues with getting along with the seller and they still need the seller for some functions of the business. You need to like meet them where they're at. They have lost it because that was their whole identity and they do not know what to do. So they are making a mess like a bull in a china shop. So he's like, okay, this is very interesting, Jackie. I did not think about this. And so he's like, okay, I will look at this. And like, since then, there has been like peace. So like, he just kind of reformatted and tried to like love this guy who has some problems and not be his friend, but just meet him where he's at. Sometimes that's all you have to do is just meet somebody where they're at as an individual.
There's this book called Leadership and Self-Deception. It's written by this company, the Arbinger Institute. And they have a bunch of books out, but their whole thesis, their whole philosophy is like, you are the problem. So if there's an issue, like you are the problem and you need to figure it out. And you're probably doing something that's leading to these issues. So if you can just change your mindset and reframe it, you're probably also going to change the whole dynamic of the situation. And I think you tend to learn that in entrepreneurship the hard way. You get in at first, you're managing people and you're like, well, this guy's always late. He must be a terrible person. Or, oh, this guy is whatever, doing X, Y, and Z. And you've got to have this balance. Like you do have to move quickly, but you also learn you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater when you're trying to close multi-million-dollar deals. Like, do you want to be right or do you want to get the deal done? And sometimes those two things are in conflict. It doesn't matter how right you are. You're not going to get the deal done or you're not going to get it across the finish line. So I like this. You have a good mindset where you're like, okay, all right. They're chopping some stuff up. Okay. And it's white. Okay, that's not good. It's white. How do they act after they chop it up? Oh, they're manic high. Okay, lots of energy. Let's not assume it's what we think it is.
Right.
Let's ask some questions.
I mean, we're trying to solve it. We're trying to help him, right? We're trying to we're trying to help this guy and like figure it out. But Taylor Swift has that song and she says, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. People know that they're the problem, but it is tricky. And I do wish that more was taught. And I don't know if it's because I'm a middle child as one of 4 kids. And I don't know if your middle children are like off doing their own thing and like just kind of sorting things out. But you have to like mediate and you've got to like sort it out and try and see it from the other side, which sometimes is very hard, especially when you're in it. Very hard.
Hey, I don't know if you remember this, but when we started this podcast, we entered into a social contract. I would spend time, energy, and money producing this podcast, interviewing these individuals and giving you insights into how to build, buy, start, grow your business. And you would like, subscribe, and leave me 5-star review. Now, out of that, we both get to talk to really cool people and hear really cool insights. We both get a ton of value. But I just want to help you keep your word. So would you do me a favor? will you go leave a 5-star review for me on Apple or Spotify? It would really help. And if you want, even share this with a friend. To me, that's the difference between getting deals done and not getting deals done, is your ability to problem solve. Because every deal, maybe not every deal, maybe there's a deal out there that's just like, it was smooth sailing. But for the most part, every deal dies a couple of times. And if you can't figure out how to resurrect it, then you're going to lose the deal.
Right.
You know, stuff comes up. Oh, shoot, I forgot to add that back. Oh, did I not tell you about this employee doing X, Y, and Z? Like, and then the buyer is like, oh, that was material. Are you kidding me? You didn't disclose that before we, oh my gosh, deal's off. We're going to retrade this. You know, so it's really, really difficult to get a deal done until you've learned that lesson of like, you got to problem solve.
Sam Rosati says all the time that a deal dies 3 times, but the deal I did with Sam only died 1 time. It only died 1 because it was back up.
That's how good you are. You should put that as your slogan.
It was only dead for
I'm such a
5
good
days.
broker. My deals only die once. So.
It does, but sometimes they die and then they don't come back. Like that deal I mentioned, like they don't come back. So sometimes they do die. I think that there's always, blips and problems because it's just not. The deal is a living, breathing thing, and the people behind it are living, breathing things, which is why we have to support that, and it's difficult.
I tell people who are buying businesses for the first time, the most important thing. You can tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. I think the most important thing that you can do buying your first business is not do all the market analysis and all the due diligence and hire the best team to do your financial underwriting, blah, blah, blah. That's all table stakes. The most important thing is building a relationship with the seller. Because in my experience, every single deal gets to the point where, are we going to close or are we not going to close? And if you can't call the seller and be like, hey man, I just found out that actually you've had all these expenses on the side. It kind of crushes our valuation. What should we do? If you guys can't have that conversation, you're done. And if after you close and you don't have a good relationship and you're like, oh, hey, this key customer just left. This key employee is really being a pain in the butt. What can I do? You're just at a severe disadvantage. So I think building trust and having a good relationship with the seller is the most important thing. All the other things come second to it. I'm not saying they're not important, but if you could just optimize one thing, it's the relationship with that seller.
It's interesting. I was on a broker panel a couple of years ago, and this other brokerage, their philosophy is that the buyer and seller shouldn't be friends. And there should be a little bit of animosity between them. I'm like, oh my God, no wonder all of their deals are like that. I start thinking oh my gosh, I hear all these stories, but it's almost like they're creating that stage where I'm trying to always foster friendship and help everybody see each other in the best light. And how can we support them? And what can we do? It's a whole different thing. I would say it is very frequent that my buyers and sellers are friends after the transition. Especially for sub $10 million businesses, probably, SBA style businesses, the relationship is so important. Maybe upmarket, it's less important and it's just a transaction. But if you don't build a relationship with that seller, then it's just going to be transactional. Yeah. Both of you're trying to get it to pay for as little, they're trying to get as much as possible. And you're just always going to be at odds. To get anybody to sort of acquiesce, there has to be the relationship there with them wanting to see you win and vice versa. So I just think building that relationship with the seller, I didn't know that. My first couple of deals that I did, I just didn't know that. It took time to understand that was a real thing. But the best deals that I've done have been because I've had good relationships with the seller. It's hard. I mean, Nick, you're super likable. So I could see where they would really like you. And I think you have a great people skills as far as how to work with them. And that makes a huge difference too. So I think a lot of times people won't get to multiple deals, right? So then you have the deal background. So it was easy for them to respect you even more as you went on and did more and more deals because they see you've done it. So I think the first deal for both buyer and seller a lot of times is very hard. That is so funny because for many sellers, it is their first deal. Yeah. And it's their baby, it's their biggest deal ever. So they're like, well, who is this person that wants to adopt my baby and pay me money for it? Do they even know what they're doing? Even when I sell something for tens of millions of dollars, it is often their first deal. Really? And it's their baby. Yeah. So something to think about. My goodness. It's a lot. It's stressful. And I'm trying to mitigate that stress. I have people cry. You just do what you can. It's hard. I mean, it's a big life shift. Are you seeing AI
impact you or your businesses that you're selling more and more? Or is it still kind of on the fringes? Is it still like, it's not really material?
Right now I am getting more emails from AI than ever before. So I'm getting like AI, blasts of emails. I definitely think it's helping speed things up. It's a great tool. I love listening to some of your episodes on all the different ways it can speed things up and you can do more with AI. And I think that that's how it will be for a long time. It's basically going to be like to assist the person to get to the next level and do more. I do think it will replace some jobs, just like cars took away, you know,
Oh,
all of the different horse and
for
wagon
sure.
jobs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll do that and Web3, different things. So I see it, but will AI replace a realtor or a business broker, if you will, or any of those jobs? They've been saying for years, oh, we're going to replace realtors. And sometimes I feel like you need them more than ever before to kind of cut through a lot of the noise and fake photos.
So I agree. I actually think that relationship businesses are going to become even more valuable because you want to trust a human in the process. But I guess kind of where I'm going with it, I just talked to a searcher this week who a couple of years ago closed on a business. And really quickly, they found one thing that they automated in their business, and just automating that, because it changed the speed to lead, it closed way more of they were a sales company, closed way more of their customer sales.
Wow.
They doubled almost overnight just by
It's
solving
amazing.
that one problem, right? And that was
Yeah.
hey, cool, AI kind of helped us, assisted us to identify and then implement the solution. I guess that's kind of what I'm asking more of. Like, are
Yeah.
you
I'm definitely
seeing,
seeing that. Yeah.
you are seeing that?
Definitely. I'm definitely seeing that. And we're using it, when we build our lists. So we pull lists from, different sources when we're going to, market strategically, our businesses that we have available that are engaged. And so we're definitely using it for that. We're using it for some of our write-up, but not all of it. Sometimes AI pulls all sorts of crazy stuff. So you have to really watch it. And the prompts do matter. And then I try and add things in the prompts. So I use it to like rewrite different things. And then you have to add like a personal element after it, right? So
Sure.
you have to like humanize it again. So you take some human items, you put it in, you get a dehumanized thing back, and then you rehumanize it to its final form. That's kind of what I feel like I'm doing in writing, and that seems to work for us. So we're definitely using it for, data aggregation and then, trying to just summarize certain things.
Are there any trends, any businesses that you're particularly excited about right now?
So I have requests for businesses where AI can't touch it. Okay. AI
Oh,
can't touch it.
go on.
AI cannot fix your sink. AI can't do it, right? Anything where AI can't touch it, right? Or the other thing I'm seeing, and this
MC
is
Hammer.
really unique.
MC Hammer businesses.
Can't touch it.
He can't touch this.
I love this. That was such a great video. Such a great video. I'm gonna do that next time. We'll do it on film. Like you and I will we'll cut back and forth of us like doing the MC Hammer dance. Neither of us doing it well. It'll be great. It'll be great.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
I can also do Running Man, but like for middle-aged women, I don't know if it's a good look. Like it's not a good look. So, anything AI, anything that AI can't touch, we're seeing like physical businesses. I'm seeing boutiques come back, which is so interesting. A bunch of clothing boutiques and a bunch of gift stores have closed. But there's an element of boutique that's coming back because people want to be able to try on in person. And so I'm seeing in very high volume areas a really good boutique that's uniquely curated, something very different. That has been interesting. Other trend I'm seeing is restaurants that come back and they're just doing a few good things. They have a few items on the menu, like very niche restaurants. Now, I always find it interesting when buyers are like, I do not want a restaurant. I will never own a restaurant. I do not like that kind of business. I don't think it's a good business. It's very risky. And I'm thinking, so 40% of the businesses on the market are restaurants nationwide.
That's insane. 40%?
40%. Okay. So you're now saying no to 40% of the businesses. The other thing is, I don't care how skinny a person is, everybody I know eats. Like, I've never met somebody who does not eat. Even if they don't eat much, they still eat. And so I still find the restaurant business fascinating. Here's the trends that I see in restaurant businesses. Again, these microscopic menus, like I just do this and I do this really well. There's that.
Like In-N-Out.
These In and out.
I
Exactly.
do 4 things. Boop, boop, boop. Okay.
Right. Right. Or I make, these like dumplings and I have this sauce and this is what I do. Right. Simple.
Okay.
Okay. But I sell a ton of it and we're like cranking that out. So I see that. The other thing I see are I'm seeing like still gastropub type stuff on a very high level and expensive. And people who have money, they just don't care.
I'm so sorry.
They're eating.
Gastropub?
Yeah,
What's that?
like a fancier menu, like everything's organic. They get it from like, they try and do farm to table.
It's lovely sourced.
Right.
Yeah. What's the name of this chicken? Can I go and meet the chicken? Can I go to the farm?
Exactly. Like in Portlandia, that's like the funniest
Yes, that's
thing ever where they go to the farm. Oh my gosh. I love that.
It's so good.
So there's that. And then lastly, I am seeing a trend of like super healthy menu. Okay. And it's starting to come back, but that'll be very interesting because our food is very polluted and our food has a lot of issues. So all these people now have these issues, like they have glyphosate issues. They have issues with, dairy and other allergens, whether it be nuts. And so people are trying to do these micro-focused restaurants on super healthy eating. I'm also seeing private chef services really on the rise. Mike Girdley will be very excited about that because he loves private chef services. So, there's some different things that
Do you have a private
are
chef?
on the rise. I do. Yeah, we just got one.
Can you tell me about it?
Yeah. So $17 a meal, all organic.
$17 a meal per person?
$17 a meal. Yeah, per person. So if you get like 9 meals a week and you're not doing any of the cooking, the grocery shopping, you're not doing any of the prep, you like stick in the oven and done.
Is it good?
It's incredible.
Okay, so they're not coming to your house and like food prepping, freezing it in your freezer.
Nope.
These are pre-made, being delivered to your house.
They're made locally at their commissary and then they're delivered. And I know like the chef that we are working with like works with some pretty like important people in the Orlando area.
Wow.
Yeah, so pretty awesome. And I sold this company to this other chef 18 years ago and I called him. I was like, hey, we need some chef services. Like we're just struggling here. And I'll go offline with that whole story, but
And he hooked you up?
dog. Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, oh, you need to call Chef Connor. So shout out to Chef Connor. He's making our lives
Chef
like
Connor.
100% easier. Yeah. I'll text you one of
That's
his
his
menus.
business.
Yeah. He does private chef services. He does a
You
menu
gotta
every
tell me
week.
about his business.
He texts his menu out to his clientele and I want 2 of these, 1 of these, 3 of these, and shows up on your doorstep Monday.
Have you ever heard of my chef? What's his name? Boyardee? Yeah, Chef Boyardee. No, nobody. Okay.
It's working. Yeah.
If you get okay. Does he have a good business?
Yeah.
Are you able to disclose how big it is or no?
I don't know. Maybe we have him on. Maybe we have
I
him
would
come
love
on.
to talk to him. Because does he have just like a central kitchen that he's preparing these meals from,
Yeah.
freezes them and then ships them?
Yeah. He used to be a chef at a restaurant. And then I think he wanted something more normal, right? Because it's a lot of evening hours and this is like daytime, right? He might work a few days on this and then he gets it all ready and it's all ready to go on Monday. And then you have your meals for the week.
I've heard of these businesses, not only ghost kitchens, so ghost kitchens are a thing, but also some of these more famous, I guess, eateries, restaurants, eateries. Who am I? These
don't
more
know.
famous restaurants.
That was very
in other
Midwestern of
places.
you.
I know. They'll open ghost kitchens in like smaller markets and then they'll deliver because like DoorDash is just so freaking popular at this point. So
Yeah.
I just think those businesses are fascinating. I don't have
It
to deal
is.
with any of the overhead of like serving, busing, seating, the logistics involved with whatever rowdy customers. I just make the food and ship it to people and cut down significantly on the overhead. I think that would be a really cool business.
Again, like I think food and food prep is going to continue to be on the rise. I think as people get busier and busier, I think, pet services, people got all these pets in the pandemic and then they went back to work and they're like, what do we do with this, like, this animal that we used to spend time with? And so like the pet daycare
So
thing
you
is
like-
still going, but it's expensive.
You like the pet crematorium I'm invested in?
That is a really very good business. Can I say
It is a
that?
good business.
It's a
No,
very
no, no.
good business.
It's not only a good business.
Yeah,
I actually think it's a good service for people.
it is. It's a great service. Do you deal with the specialty urns? Do they have specialty urns? I know of a company that provides that if you want, because that could be an addition that they could provide to the customer as a specialty urn that these people do.
Really? Oh, okay.
Let's make some money. Let's make some
Let's
money.
make some money. No, like you said, people adopted a bunch of pets during COVID, and then That's the puppy boom is real. And pretty soon there's going to be a lot of pets who are passing on. And then you've got these families who are like, what the frick do I do with my dog? Do I like
Right.
bury him? I don't want to
Right.
bury him in my backyard. Do I throw him away? I don't throw him away. Like, who do I call? Ghostbusters? No,
Yeah.
like that's a pet crematorium.
I know.
So
One of my parents' friends
like
like taxidermied their pet. I always thought it was strange.
Oh,
So like their pet was like at their house, like taxidermied. I don't know. It just was never the same for
hard
me.
pass. Oh, no, couldn't do that. That would be so
Like you
freaky.
couldn't do that. Maybe it's very Florida. Is it? It's very Florida.
I don't know if it's Florida. That's just like it could be anywhere. That'd be so weird. You just like get up in the middle of the night to grab a drink of water, and you're like, "Whoa, Buster!
Yeah.
Buster!
It's just
Oh,
like
Buster!
Yeah. I mean, like it looked real. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Don't do that." What businesses are you seeing that are like, yeah, these are getting harder and harder to move?
I think a small restaurant is always harder to move. Like when we sell restaurants, we typically sell something that's minimum $500,000 EBIT, right? So I think the smaller, very small restaurants, the micro restaurants are hard to sell. Like there has to be some money. When we sell restaurants, we often sell it with property. So it's a pretty robust business or a chain at this point when we sell something. But
Interesting.
I still think so. I think that market's difficult and you can't get funding often for like a smaller restaurant. But a restaurant that's doing $500,000 EBIT, like there's plenty of banks that will take that deal, especially if it's very consistent and the buyer has background. I don't think I'd sell a restaurant to a buyer that didn't have any restaurant background.
No, you're an idiot if you're buying a restaurant with no. Well, I shouldn't say that. My personal opinion is I would never do a restaurant. But if you're going to do a restaurant, you either need to go and get some experience in the restaurant space, or you already have the experience.
Yeah.
And you need to be passionate about it. I think you have to have experience and be passionate about it. Otherwise, man, that is a hard business. You're working nights, you're working weekends, you're working holidays, high turnover staff, fairly low margins. It's pretty commoditized because it's food. It's just, man, not worth us.
Different like specialty ag products. Like we buy microgreens from somebody locally that has like, they made this whole shed and their kids are involved.
Oh, that's really cool.
And and so they sell microgreens and also sell like their eggs. They have like some chickens in their backyard and they sell microgreens. And, we pay a pretty penny for those. And I think specialty products like that will continue to sell and grow. So,
and those businesses don't have to be $10 million businesses. It's like, oh, I make a couple $100,000 a year net.
Correct.
I love what I'm doing. I have control of my
backyard.
time. Like those are freaking great businesses. All right, I want to end on some fun ones.
Okay, let's do it.
What are some not red flags, but yellow flags where you instantly know someone who's trying to get on your list as a first-time buyer?
I mean, there's so many, right? And I love how you called it last time the low integrity yellow flags, like a low integrity flag. Sometimes these buyers will use all of this nomenclature that is directly from, and I love Walker Deibel, but it's directly from Walker Deibel's book or, the HBR guide, it's directly from there. And they are sure that that is the only way to do it because they've read that.
Give me an example.
Well, I just did a post on this about meeting all of the staff before closing. And some sellers just cannot get on board with that. So I have a deal, they do about 10 million and they just do not want the buyer to meet the staff. Now they've been to the facility ahead of time. They've taken a tour. They've met the people just like they've seen them, right? They know they exist. It's a big facility. There's 75 staff. There's a fleet of vehicles. So like somebody can't just pick this up and move this. Like you can't do it. It's too big.
It's so funny too. If you're listening to this right now and you want to buy a business and you're like, well, what's the big deal? Why can't I meet the staff? You don't understand because you've never been in it before, but deals fall through all the time. The seller may or may not have told the staff that they're selling at this point.
Right.
And it's not because they're trying to hide anything from them for bad reasons. It's because if it falls through, now you've got people who are like, well, do I have a job? Who's the new buyer? I don't know the new buyer. Are they going to like me? Are they going to pay me? Are they going to pay me that raise that he promised me?
Yes.
Well, I take every Friday off and I've already negotiated that with my boss. So is he going to honor that? Like all of a sudden the billion questions come out. And if you open Pandora's box, you can't shut it. You can't shut it again. So I would never let somebody come on premise to quote unquote meet the employees. I would absolutely hire someone and tell my employees like, hey, look, this is my succession plan. He's taking over, she's taking over the business, blah, blah, blah. But oh my God. Yeah, hey, I'm thinking of buying this business. No, you're meeting the staff when the deal is closed.
So there's a lot of people. So I had a lot of pushback. Like I would never buy that business. I'm like, then this business wouldn't be for you. that's the deal. Like, then, then you wouldn't buy this business, and that's okay. It's not for you.
Some of the other things that I really love when I'm talking to like first time buyers is it's not a bad thing, but there is a fake it till you make it culture. And I want to tell all first time buyers, like, embrace it. Just be open. Be like, yeah, this is my first deal, but here's my experience. Because you're going to tell on yourself. You're not going to know that you tell on yourself, but you're going to tell on yourself really, really quickly when you're like, so what's the EBITDA on this business? Now, I know some people say EBITDA, but nobody says EBITDA. All right. Or if you're like, oh, that's really interesting. What's the customer concentration like? And are the clients sticky? You're like, okay. What would you say the moat is like in this business? You're like, you're using words you just don't.
Right.
You don't know, right?
I had an interesting call yesterday. One of Helen Guo's buyers called me. So Helen Guo, I guess, teaches people to buy businesses also. And this lender knows I know them. And the lender told them, he's like, I think you're just getting something really funny. I want you to call a friend of mine. So the lender texts me. He's like, hey, will you talk to these people? I was like, sure. Like, I don't know what it's about. And they call and they tell me that the broker who's from California is saying they only have 10 days due diligence and they have to put down 10% deposit. So $275,000. And after the 10 days, it's non-refundable and they have to pay broker fees. And I'm like, something is up. Like, this is strange. Like, I was like, this is crazy. And they're like, well, we still really like the business. And they keep saying, well, you can come back with something. I was like, okay, then, I mean, come back with, an LOI, but just know that this is unreasonable and egregious. Like, just know that. And I wish you a lot of luck. Like, I'm hoping that they look for something else.
Wait, that was the seller's demands or that was the buyer's demands?
The seller's demands, demanding like 10-day due diligence and a $275,000 deposit upon LOI. Actually, they didn't want an LOI. They just wanted a contract, which I get it. Some people do want that. But I think a non-refundable $275,000 is sketchy.
That's what I'm saying. You tell on yourself. Yeah, right? You tell on yourself when you're like, there's no Riz in that Ohio. I don't know.
I mean, I always put the fries in the bag. So, I mean, stuff like that, like, I just, sorry.
All right, Jackie, where's the best place for people to come find you?
LinkedIn's good. It's like an office party and you want to go home, but sometimes I talk to people there. So LinkedIn's good. And, I'm on X. So SMB Jackie Hirsch. So that's also probably even easier.
I can't wait to talk to you next quarter when we get,
Let's do it.
Your Q3 update of like, hot and heavy. It is busy.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good stuff. All right. Hopefully you liked that episode. And if you've made it this far, you're either really committed or you're stuck doing yard work and you can't actually skip on your phone. So while I have you, the show is growing, but I have a favor to ask of you. Will you please help me grow the show? I want to reach more people. There's a couple things that you can do. Like and subscribe is the simplest thing. Obviously, you want to get notifications for when the next episode is coming out. But if you go the next step, will you leave me a review? 5-star on Spotify or Apple. What that does is it tells the algorithm that, oh, hey, this is a high value podcast because more people are leaving reviews for it, and it then pushes it out to more people. So that's why when people are like, will you like and subscribe and put a 5-star rating? It's not just to make themselves feel better. It's actually to get more exposure for the show. So if you do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.